Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday, family. Like I said, man, I'm rolling solo today. My guy D Butt, man, out in LA. Him and Pat and the crew, they will be covering the national championship tonight. So he won't be with us today. But I'm gonna hold it down, man. We got a lot to talk about. The regular season is over. The second season begins, playoff time. So obviously we're gonna talk about the playoff picture. Um, who do I like? Who don't I like? We're gonna talk about some of yesterday's games, future of some of these players. Black Monday. You know, hate this day of the year, but it happens. It started early with the Houston Texans, but we'll touch on that. We'll touch on some of the regular season awards, who we think, may win some of these awards. But again, we got a lot to talk about. Appreciate y'all tapping in with me. Again, I'm rolling solo today. So if you do have any questions, please put them in the comment section. We're going to rock today, man. It's going to be a good one. So again, man, we're going to catch you on the other side.
Darius Butler. Antoine Bethea.
Man, we told y'all we had a new intro. Shout out to the fam, man, getting that intro together for us. And sure, y'all let me know. Y'all let me know what y'all thought of the intro. So man, let's kick it off. Like we said, man, it's Black Monday. We're gonna start off there, and then we're gonna get to some good news. But Black Monday, Lovie Smith was I froze a little bit. Man, that shit tripping. Y'all hold tight. Let me log out and come right back in. Give me 1 second. All right, I'm back. Here we go. Like I was saying, man, Black Monday. Lovie Smith fired. This is the Texans straight one and done head coach. As always, man, put your comments in the section. But I think this just goes to show, man, just where this organization stands, where this organization is. Everything, in this world, company-wise, business-wise, it starts at the top, right? It starts at the top, and it's something that has to change there. Obviously, I'm not sure how many coaches the Texans have had up to this point, but nothing has changed. I think they had a run where they were decent, a couple years here and there, but I think it's just at the top, something has to change. I don't think Lovie Smith got a fair shot. I don't think any coach can go into the Houston Texans right now and in their first year make huge change. No coach 1 year can go in there and make crucial change. You know what I mean? Obviously, you look at some coaches, like even Brian Daboll. He came in this year with the Giants. He turned that thing around, but it's very tough and very rare to do that. And to be able to have a GM, a head coach, and an owner on the same page, that's what's going to turn the team around. I'm not sure what the Texans are going to do. They end up beating our coach yesterday, so they forfeit that #1 pick. That goes to the Chicago Bears. What the Chicago Bears going to do with that #1 pick? That's something we can talk about later on in the show. But again, man, the Houston Texans, franchise-wise, man, is not good. And I feel like, and I'm not going to say that it's no talent in Houston. It's talent on all teams. On all teams, that's why we have that verbiage as far as like any given Sunday, because any team can go out there and play. And you've seen the Houston Texans the past couple games, man. They've been competitive. They went to Dallas and they, played Dallas wire to wire. Obviously they beat a coach team yesterday. The coach team was struggling as well. But man, it's interesting to see where the Texans go from here. What do they do? As far as GM, do they keep the GM? Do they bring in a new GM and a new head coach at the same time to get them on the same page to see if they can move the needle with this franchise? But again, man, it's tough to see. I'm pretty sure we'll hear some more firings as the day goes on. It started off in Denver. Getting rid of coach. I know it was a tough goal this first season, but Lovie Smith was fired yesterday after the game. One that I have my eyes on is out there in Arizona. Cliff Kingsbury, he's supposed to meet with owner Bidwell today and see how that goes. But that's another one that you can keep your eye on. So again, man, it's Black Monday. We gonna see who get moved around and see what happens. Anthony, please tell me Denver is getting a new coach and a QB. They'll be getting a new coach for sure, but QB, he locked in to Russell. They locked into him, man. Again, nobody's gonna take over that contract. Yesterday, he looked decent. Had a good win, had some good throws there. So hopefully, this offseason he can, get back to old Russell. Get that rapport with his guys, with his teams, with the receivers. Like we seen, lay down the stretch, the receivers, especially Jerry Jeudy coming to his defense, talking about how much Russell, he works hard and all of that, and that's true. I'll never question his work ethic, but at the end of the day, it's all about what you put on film. It's about how you go out there, how you play, and it's been rough for us this year. So again, Anthony, man, Denver, if you're a Denver fan, you definitely could be expecting a new coach. But a new QB, my guy, you locked and loaded for at least another year or two. Mr. Scampers, is Josh McDaniels in jeopardy? I don't think so. I think Josh will be there next year. Moving on from Carr, I think that's a decision that was made, him and probably ownership. Obviously, him, the team deciding, along with Carr, deciding that he could remove himself from the building the past 2 games to keep him away from injury, so that trade value could be high as we move into free agency. So I think Josh McDaniels is good for the next year. Obviously, Got to see where the team goes, what direction they go in at the quarterback position, and then obviously just again see how the team plays and see how they respond to whatever what happens in this offseason. But I think Josh McDaniels is safe for another year. Long run, not sure, but again, that's one of the keep an eye out for. Another two more coaches that's getting a lot of talk. Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh is getting a lot of talk. Denver. A lot of talk as far as him coming back to Indy. I think I get a lot of questions about Jim Harbaugh. When I went to San Francisco, he was a coach of my first year, and a lot of people ask me like, what did I think of Coach Harbaugh? And you see and you hear a lot of different people just talk about him as a person, whether you like him as a person or not. I always say he was a hell of a football coach, right? It was when I got there, it was some differences between him and management, and that's cool. But what I could say is that as far as like his football IQ, knowing what to do to be able to get men ready to play, and his track record speaks for itself. Obviously as a head coach at in San Fran, take him to a Super Bowl, take him to an NFC Championship. He can get it done. Obviously, played the game. At Michigan now, hasn't. Michigan's been good, but Michigan being the type of program that it is, they haven't been able to get to the pinnacle. So again, man, his name is going around. I think some teams would love to have him on the sideline in that locker room. So we'll look out for that. And then also Sean Payton. Sean Payton, I think Denver was granted to be able to talk to Sean Payton. Sean Payton, I think, obviously is a good coach as well, what he did out there in New Orleans. So, again, that's another name to look out for as we get these coaches start to move around, start taking these interviews and stuff. So, we will see. It should be interesting. We're going to see, man. As we talk about the Lovie Smith, man, Coach Dungy, the great Coach Dungy, Hall of Famer Coach Dungy. What are the Texans doing? What kind of operation is this where you don't have any convictions about supporting the coaches you hire? Who is going to want to coach there if you might only get 1 year to implement your plans? 2 years in a row is ridiculous. I agree. And this is coming from a Hall of Fame coach. So if he has this sentiment, I can only imagine what other coaches may have. Now you have coaches who that are itching to have that head coaching position. So they might take it and say, hey, I'm going to run with it and see what happens. But again, I think if somebody would advise a head coach who's looking to coach and have that head coaching role, hey, you get that opportunity, you got to make the best to make the most out of that opportunity, because again, we know that you might not get another shot. You might not get another shot. Another thing that could be interesting too, where DeMeco Ryans, the defensive coordinator for the San Francisco 49ers, had a hell of a career with the Houston Texans. A lot of names, his name is being brought up saying that he should get a lot of love when these head coaching vacancies appear. So DeMeco Ryans, man, hell of a job at the DC defensive coordinator position with the 49ers. So hey, he could potentially go back to Houston in that head coaching role. So that would be good too. That would be good too. Let's get to some of these games. I'm gonna run through some of these games for sure, because I want to get to this playoff picture and talk about some of these matchups. Again, I'm a firm believer that going into the playoffs, playing your best ball is key, right? And also matchups are key. So right now, I honestly would say, look, man, let's throw the rankings out of the window. Like it's win and you keep going, right? You lose, you go home at this point. So regardless of what the regular season records were, hey, we got a week for this wild card weekend. We got a week to prepare for a team to play. Let's go out there and let's get it done, right? So I definitely want to get off into this the playoff matchups. But let's touch on some of these games from the weekend. 14-3 Chiefs, 31-13 beating the Raiders. Again, Chiefs, doing what they do, creating some talk, man. They came out the huddle, the linemen going in circle, come out, they score a touchdown, man. So they out there and they're having fun, and that's what the game is supposed to be about. Out there having fun, getting it done. I know the people in that building, they love to come to work. Obviously, they have Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. They have some great coaches on the coaching staff, Andy Reid. So they're playing at a high level, very confident going into the playoffs. Again, we talked about the Raiders. Josh McDaniels, is he safe? We talked about Carr. Eventually, he's going to be moving on. Devontae Adams, had a record-breaking year for the Raiders. We talked about, the main reason why he came to Las Vegas is to team up with his college quarterback, Carr. So, we'll see how that goes, man. But, again, we'll definitely see the Chiefs in the playoffs. Raiders, as we always say, man, they getting their vacation ready. But interesting to see how they'll bounce back next year. Tennessee and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Who saw this coming? Did anybody see the Jacksonville Jaguars making the playoffs? Did anybody? I'm asking everybody in the comments, did anybody see this happening? Jacksonville Jaguars, 9-8, winning the AFC South. Hold on. I think somebody might have mentioned this earlier this year. Hold on real quick.
I've been thinking about what you've been saying about the Jaguars too. I was on Michael Fabiano, Lindsey Rhodes this weekend. We're talking fantasy. Like, Trevor Lawrence got some pieces around him, got ETN back, his college running mate. You got a grown-up head coach now with Doug Peterson, Super Bowl champ. We saw the jump Carson made from year 1 to year 2. I said, AB was on to this early. He might be on to something.
Hey. Just give my credit, man. When it happens, when we start seeing this thing turn, now I don't want to do too good. They in the AFC South without coach, but definitely them Jags, man. They might be up to something out there down.
Yeah, man.
Down south in Duval County. Man. So yeah, those Jacksonville Jaguars are in the playoffs. 9-8. Great game against the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans traveled down to Jacksonville. This was a great game. Great game. I thought one of the keys to this game, I had picked Jacksonville to win this game. I thought the keys was for the Jacksonville Jaguars fronts on both sides to control this game, right? Obviously on the defensive side, stopping that monster of Derrick Henry. They did a decent job. And then on the offensive side of the ball, protected Trevor Lawrence. And letting Travis Etienne get off and get busy, man. So I think they did a decent job on both sides of the ball. The Jags, when we touch on this playoff pitch, I'm surprised over some of my picks. But the Jags playing good ball going into the playoffs. They're playing confident. As I said earlier, that's what it's about. It's about at this point, at this juncture of the season, man, playing some confident ball. And they're confident. AFC South champions. Nobody saw this coming except for me and the people in the Jacksonville Jaguars building. I'm pat myself on the back on that one. But good stuff by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Good stuff. And then the Tennessee Titans, man, they got some decisions to make. Oh, then you drafted a quarterback, but then you bring Joshua Dobbs in. He played pretty well. Smart guy. So they got some decisions to make as far as that quarterback position. They got a good team, a solid team. But I just feel as though they haven't progress year to year. But again, man, good stuff by the Jags, man. Good stuff by the Jags. Brad Hendry's stiff arm was nasty. Defensive players though, that's what you look at on film though. Like, I know that's what I did as far as safety, being in the run support. You look at how these running backs run, right? You had some running backs that was vertical runners. You had some running backs that were, they leaned. It was over their toes. You had some runners that would like to, put a move on you. So you had to really study the backs, right? What they like to do. Are they like a stretch? One cut downhill. And just watching film on Derrick Henry, you just got to know, that stiff arm is coming. So you got to try to time it up where you can knock that arm down, and get him down on the ground. But it's tough. It's easier said than done. But to your point, Brad, that stiff arm is nasty. Minnesota, Chicago. Minnesota 13-4, 29-13, man, beating up on the Bears, man. Bears 3-14. As we said earlier, they have the number 1 pick. With Tennessee winning yesterday, beating the Colts, the Bears now officially have the number 1 pick in the NFL draft this year. Question: what do you do with that number 1 pick if you are the Chicago Bears? Do you draft? Do you draft the best player available, the best player that you have on your board? Do you draft? Or we have another option is trade down and you can get more picks. I would say trade that number 1 pick, get more picks. You're not going to take a quarterback in the draft. Whatever position that you're looking at, whether it's to shore up their offensive line, whether it's to get some Justin Fields some help on the outside, I feel as though you can do that. You can do that, mid first, late first, even early second round. So get you some draft capital and build that team. First year head coach over there in Chicago. I feel as though they do have a good foundation with some key core players, some young players. So get some draft capital and build a team. I think that's what they should do as for the Chicago Bears with that number 1 pick. But who am I? It's more than one way to skin a cat. You could definitely keep the number 1 pick. And again, pick the best person on your board. After you go do your due diligence, after the process, the combine, and the bowl game, if you feel like, hey, this guy's deserving of this number 1 pick as an organization, that's what you feel, shit, go do what you do. But if AB had the GM hat on, I definitely would trade those picks and get some more capital. So again, this offseason should be very, very, very interesting. Very interesting for a number of teams. Cleveland and Pitt. Cleveland 7-10. Divisional matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Winning that game 28-14, finishing the season at 9-8. Finished the season at 9-8. Shout out to Coach Tomlin. Again, not having a losing season. Hasn't had a losing season since he's been the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Shout out to Mike Tomlin, man, my guy from Newport News, 757. Denby High School graduate. You see that jersey up there, the number 4. So man, happy to see that, especially the way the season started, and the way he was able to pull that team together, keep that team together, and at the end of the season, still have a shot to get into the playoffs and finish 9-8 above 500 once again for Mike Tomlin. Steelers, man, they have a great foundation over there, as they always have. Just a great organization from the coaches, from their leaders, and ownership. So done a great job. Good young quarterback, Kenny Pickett. I think he's the guy. I spoke earlier this season when I felt as though they should have named him the starter from the get-go. You know, from Pitt. I know the fans would have rallied behind him. And shit, throw him in the fire. And typically, I don't say that. Typically, if you got a vet in front of a rookie quarterback, say, hey, throw the vet in there. Let the rook, you know, see the game from the sideline in the film room. And then, you know, mid-season, if it's that time, get him in there. But from the jump, man, I'm like, man, put Kenny Pickett in there, man. Let him rock. I think he's that guy. Got some young talent. You know, obviously in the backfield, on the receiver. I got some big-time players on defense side of the ball, obviously, Watt, Minka Fitzpatrick. So they got a great foundation. So they can build off this season. Obviously, it's not how they wanted. The season didn't start how they wanted to, but finishing on a good note, that's something that you can roll into the off season with and build on that. So again, man, shout out to Coach Tomlin. Shout out to the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, running a hell of an organization, man. So again, you know, one of these, you know, close, but not enough. And of course, the Cleveland Browns. I think the Cleveland Browns, man, they had some high expectations for the team once Deshaun came off suspension. That really didn't happen. I kind of knew that was going to happen just with, you know, him not playing for, you know, he didn't play last year. And then suspended, you know, majority of the season this year. I know it's going to be a little bit of rust. Then obviously it seems like they're going to part ways with Jadeveon Clowney. Again, they have some young talent on the Browns team. So we'll see where they go. You know, that division is tough year in and year out, man. These teams come to play ball. You got Cincinnati Bengals, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers, you got the Baltimore Ravens, and then, you know, the Cleveland Browns. So again, man, this division always playing some good solid ball. So Cleveland Browns, man, keep it going. Keep it going. And like I talked about, Mike Tomlin, 16 seasons, no losing seasons. That speaks volume on the job that he's doing. Hell of a job. Mike T. Next up, man, we got the Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals. Baltimore Ravens 10-7 in the playoffs. The Bengals 12-4 in the playoffs as well. The Baltimore Ravens still without their star quarterback Lamar Jackson, battling a knee issue. They thought that he would be back at this point. And this is an interesting situation, right? So obviously, you know, the big talk about Lamar and his contract. And I'm, as always, firm believer, yo, bet on yourself. And we've seen this Baltimore Ravens team and the offense without Lamar. And this is a question for you guys. You got to play hardball in this business, right? The teams do it all the time. You know, a player may say, hey, look, I think I deserve this. I think I'm worth this. Team says, I think you're worth X. I think you deserve X. Being that the Ravens have not been playing well without Lamar. Lamar's been out. They're going to the playoffs. What would you do if you was Lamar? I get it. I know a lot of people going to say, hey, look, don't leave your guys out to dry. You know what I mean? Be a team player. You know, go out there and ball. But again, we talk about this all the time. This is a $1 billion business. Big business. So as a businessman, every player is their own business. As a businessman, what would be the smart move for Lamar? Just a question. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to, you know, ruffle no feathers, but just a question. Just a question. Should Lamar look out for Lamar and say, look, I'm not healthy. I gotta sit his first game of the playoff out, or should he, say, hey, let's go make a run? Just a question. Just a question. So we got Okami. He better sit until he's paid. He keep getting hurt. Tim Langans. Hope I said that right. Depends on how healthy he is, for sure. Jacoby Hawkins. He should go ball if he wants. Some team will pay him, but on the other side, he should protect himself. Facts. If I'm Lamar, I'll force myself out of Baltimore. They traded their only receiver for a new center. But again, it's tough, man, because you got to think. You got the franchise. So the Baltimore Ravens can franchise tag Lamar for the next 2 seasons. So this is going to be tough. Again, like I said, I'm not going to say, hey, Lamar, you should do this, or you should do that. But this is an interesting time and topic that, Lamar really can handle either way he wants to handle. So it's gonna be dope. My guy Marcus said, I think you play, but I don't know the circumstance surrounding his injury or the severity. I mean, it's a knee. I mean, he's been out the past 4-5 weeks. We know the style of game that he plays. He needs his legs to be that impactful player that he is, that special player that he is. So again, we're gonna see. Speaking out loud with Renee and Bobo, are you hurt or are you injured? Heard you 1,000%. But again, as we say, this is the big business. Big business. With you being on the sideline, you're showing like, look, this team is different without me. Everybody can see that. This team is different without me. So what do you do? What do you do? My man Margaret said, what would AB do? I'm going out there and play. I ain't going to front. I'm going to go out there and play. But again, I'm not sure how bad this injury is. Again, we only get bits and pieces. But on the business side, I'm not mad at nobody who's going to say, hey, I'm going to sit out. I'm going to chill until I'm 100%. So I get both sides. So we'll definitely look out and see what happens. But knowing the type of player and competitor Lamar is, I think if it's any chance or any slight chance that he can go out there and rock, help his team, I think he'll be out there. New England, Buffalo 13-3, man. 35-23, man. Beat the Patriots, man. 8-9. Naheem Hines, man, taking that opening kickoff back, man. That stadium was going crazy. Team going crazy. Still, man, thoughts and prayers to D Hamlin, man. Making some major progress. So I love to see it. Him sitting up, being able to watch the game. FaceTime with Meek Mill, man. So again, man, sending major thoughts and prayers out to D Hamlin, man. Hopefully, continue this special recovery. And the Bills, man, still rolling, 13-3, going into the playoffs hot, playing some good ball. Yeah, man, Patriots, they got to figure something out. I think they definitely got to bring in an OC. I think they're doing Mac Jones a disservice, just throwing anybody, in that position and say, hey, look, we're gonna just call these plays. You need to bring somebody in that can really mold and help Mac Jones be a quarterback that he could be and max out his potential, because I think he does have a lot of potential, a lot of upside at that quarterback position. So Patriots gotta look themselves in the mirror, man, and figure it out. Obviously, we already know what the culture is, good culture, but got to bring a few more pieces in, man, to get them back to where they were. Get them back to where they were before TB12 got out of there. This was I don't know if you want to call this a defensive game or just offense. Offenses weren't playing that well. The Dolphins finished up 9-8. beating the Jets 11-6, Jets 7-10. Both of these teams started off pretty good this year. But you know, it's about consistency. You got to be able to do it for 17 weeks. Dolphins, obviously, you know, their franchise of their organization tour, battling with concussions this year. So you know, we'll see what happens with that. You know, bringing Tyreek Hill over, Jalen Waddle, man, they got some dogs over there. That defense, they got to tighten up on that defensive side of the ball. And Jets, biggest thing for them, great young talent on both sides of the ball. But they got to figure out that quarterback position. If you're going to be one of those teams here in the league, you got to have a guy. Got these maintenance workers out here. But you got to have a guy that position, right? And I'm not saying you got to have somebody that's out of this world, but you got to have a guy that's capable of getting the job done and then being able to build around him. And with that defensive side, on that side of the ball, I just think you need to bring a guy in or get you a guy that's capable of getting the job done. Not even gonna say a game manager, but somebody who can go out there and get it done. That's not gonna lose the game for you, but can make some plays for you too. So you're gonna have some quarterbacks out there, Carl. We're gonna talk about A-Rod, his future. You know, it looked a little funny last night, you know, after Detroit beat them, but do you go with Mike White? You give Zach Wilson another shot. What you do? What do you do? TJ, man, worried about Tua, as you should, man. Like three concussions in that short amount of time. That is scary. That is scary. And we wish him the best, hopefully, you know, speedy recovery, but that's something that he has to sit down with doctors, his family, and really just look himself in the mirror. Hold on, it's getting loud. Hold on. All right, we back. But yeah, man, that's scary. That is scary. And want to be able to walk away from this game and years after still be good. So we definitely prayers up for Tua. Prayers up for Tua. TB, Tampa Bay and Atlanta, man, put a whooping on the Bucks. Falcons finished 7-10, Bucks 8-9. Losing season, but they're in the playoffs. They'll be facing the Dallas Cowboys, and they have a home game. Obviously, we're going to talk about that once we get into the playoff picture. I'm not really going to touch on this game much. You see it there. Falcons, you know, ended on a good note. Also in that division, New Orleans Saints, Carolina Panthers. Panthers win 10-7. I actually had the Saints in this one, but Carolina Panthers, I would say this. I think they started off the season 1-4, firing their head coach, trading for Baker Mayfield, getting Baker Mayfield back out of there, Sam Darnold, getting another shot at the starting position, traded one of your franchise players in Christian McCaffrey, and to kind of turn the season around. Steve Wilkes, the interim head coach, I think he did a hell of a job bringing that team together. You can see the team out there fighting week in and week out. Last week was in a position playing against the Tampa Bay Bucks to put themselves in a real good position to get into the playoffs. So we said it on the pod a number of times that Steve Wilkes, I feel as though, should be the front runner to be named the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. From Charlotte, went to App State, here in North Carolina. You can tell the players they're gonna run through a wall for him. And I was able to play for Coach Wilkes his 1 year as he was a head coach with the Arizona Cardinals, and I can tell you, good dude, smart coach. And And that's what you want. You know, you want a guy like that leading men, being able to get in front of the room, tell you how it is, knows the game, can put you in the right positions to make plays. So hopefully Carolina Panthers, man, they look and think long and hard about, you know, just the future of that organization and where it's going. Cause I think Steve Wilkes can do a good job leading those guys. Houston and Indy. Houston and Indy tricked up that #1 pick by beating our coach, well, my coach, 32-31. Texans finished the season 3-13-1. Colts finished 4-12-1. Starting with our Colts, man, 4-12-1. It was an ugly one. I don't think anybody expected that from the Colts. I actually kind of had them first or second in the AFC South. And I wasn't in the locker room. Obviously, you know, wasn't on the field, but this 4-12 outside looking in, this 4-12 season seemed even worse than the 2-14 season. I was on that 2-14 Colts team. And I don't know if I'm out of line with that, but y'all tell me if y'all agree or not. For those that remember that 2-14 season, again, I was in that locker room, so I knew I know how the morale was. I knew, you know, what was going on. But again, this is me outside looking in, being a coach of the fan, a fan of the Colts. It just seemed a little off. And we talked about the Texans, you know, firing Lovie Smith, not sure where they're gonna go, direction they're gonna go in as far as hiring a new head coach. But seems like it's been the same storyline for the Houston Texans for a while. Just a lot of dysfunction there. So we'll see what happens there. And even with the Colts, we'll see with their head coaching job. You know, Jeff Saturday came in as an interim. So does he come back as a full-time head coach, or do they go elsewhere? So again, we'll have to see. And then, you know, when you bring in a new coach, 9 times out of 10, they want to bring their people in. So now it's just about, you know, I'm not even gonna say a revolving door, but when they bring their guys in, sometimes the system changes. So the players gotta adapt to that as well. So 2 teams in the AFC South to keep an eye out on. Arizona Cardinals at the 49ers. 49ers 13-4. 38-13. Put a whooping on the Arizona Cardinals. Brock Purdy and company, man, still getting it done. The 49ers are playing real good ball right now. Playing some real good ball offensively, defensively. I would not want to see the 49ers in the offs. So they have the Seattle Seahawks coming to visit them wild card weekend. Another divisional rival. So that'll be the 3rd time this year the Seahawks and 49ers face off against one another. But surprising that the 49ers could be playing with their 3rd string quarterback and still playing how they're playing. You know, started off with Trey Lance and, you know, unfortunate injury. Then Jimmy G, another unfortunate injury. And now Brock Purdy, man, he's out there, and the 49ers haven't missed a beat. So that's kudos to Brock Purdy. Being ready when your name is and your number is called. To Shanahan, you know, being able to still put his players in position for them to be successful. And to the guys, you know, next man up and not, you know, falling off, man. So shout out to the San Francisco 49ers and the Cardinals. We talked about them briefly at the beginning of the show, just like, you know, where do they go from here? You know, Kyler Murray, he'll be, you know, rehabbing that knee injury. You know, Cliff Kingsbury, does he come back as the head coach next year? Will it be a coaching change? So again, I think again, the Arizona Cardinals hasn't been good for them. In my opinion, I think it will be some changes. So we're gonna see, man. But 49ers, A team you do not want to see in the playoffs right now. Not right now. Dallas and Washington, man, this was surprising. This was surprising. Washington Commanders 8-1, beat up on the Cowboys 26-6. Cowboys 12-5. Right now, I feel like they're limping. They're limping into the playoffs. They go down to Tampa Bay to face a Tampa Bay team that's 8-9, but this is a total different season, right? Again, you can scratch your records, you can scratch what you did in the regular season, and then as we know, a team led by Tom Brady, who all he does is excel in the playoffs, man. It's scary for Cowboys. I'll say that right now. Dak did not play good yesterday. The team didn't play well yesterday, and for them to let a Washington Commanders team beat up on them, led by Sam Howell, that's not a good look. Not a good look at all to the Cowboys fans. I don't think a lot of times we don't have a lot of Cowboys fans here on the pod that you know that's with us live. But I know I got a lot of guys, a lot of homeboys who's Cowboys fans. It's not looking good for them. I would say this right now. I'm picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers over the Dallas Cowboys. I'll say it again. I'm picking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the 8-9 Tampa Bay Buccaneers, over the 12-5 Cowboys. And I feel like a lot of people are going to be with me on that one. Yeah. Jay Starship. Yeah, you heard me. I'm picking the Tampa Bay Bucks over the Cowboys. You must be a Cowboys fan. Because if you seen how them Cowboys played yesterday, and I get it, Tampa Bay, they not playing well, but again, I'm putting my money on TB12 right now. I'm putting my money on TB12 right now over the Cowboys. Rams, Seattle, another good game. Seahawks was able to get this win, 19-16 in overtime against the Los Angeles Rams. Detroit beating Green Bay. Got the Seahawks in, man. So shout out to Geno Smith, man. Geno Smith stat, man, has officially set the Seahawks single season passing yards record, surpassing Russell Wilson. And I seen another, it's not really a stat, but with Geno Smith leading the Seattle Seahawks to the playoffs, he hit an incentive. I think it was a meal? So shout out to Geno Smith, man. Everything that he's been able to do, leading that Seattle Seahawks team to the playoffs. I think a few people doubted him, and as he said earlier this season, man, they wrote me off, but he didn't write back, and that was a quote for a few weeks, man. But that's a quote that you can live by, man. Like, you know, they wrote me off, but I didn't write back. You know, kept his head down, kept working, and now look at him. You know, going to the San Francisco and playing the Niners. So they got a tough matchup ahead of them. I think it'll be a good game, though. It'll be a good game, as it always is between those two teams. New York Giants at Philly. Philly 14-3. Jalen Hurts, we talked about it on last Thursday about, you know, should Jalen Hurts play? I thought that, you know, maybe sit him. You don't want to risk the injury. But obviously, you know, him being healthy enough, himself and the team, thought it was you know, smart enough to get him out there so they lock up that number 1 seed, which they did over the win against the Giants. You know, NFC East got 3 teams in the playoffs: Eagles, Giants, and the Dallas Cowboys. Eagles got this first week bye. NFC goes through Philly. Having that home field advantage, man, it's a plus. It's a plus when you don't have to travel. Your routine stays the same. So that's good. But they still got to come out and play ball. As I've said a number of times, I got Jalen Hurts as my MVP. When he was in there, man, and clicking on all cylinders. I think with just one loss. Obviously, yesterday you see, it's a better team when he's at the quarterback position. Giants, played tough. Played tough. Didn't play some of their key guys. Smart move by them. The Giants, they have the Minnesota Vikings. First round, wild card weekend. Again, upset alert. You heard it here first. On a man-to-man pod with AB, upset alert. Giants will beat the Minnesota Vikings. Call me crazy if you want, but I told y'all, man, I got some surprising picks for y'all in these playoffs. I got some surprising picks, and we're gonna get to that once I get done with once we get done with these games. Los Angeles Chargers at the Denver Broncos. Come on, Chargers. Thought y'all was going to be able to pull this one off, but the Broncos finished the season off strong with a win. Russell played, better than he's been playing throughout the year. 5-12. I don't think it was anything what they expected with him coming over, firing head coach Nathaniel Hackett mid-season. So we'll see who the new head coach will be for the Denver Broncos. Chargers getting a little bit getting healthier. So we'll see what Justin Herbert and company will be able to do on this playoff push. And last but not least, last night, a hell of a game. The Packers needed to win this game to get in. We knew that the Lions were going to come and they was going to play tough and play hard. They finished the season 9-8. It's the brand new Lions. It's funny. I remember talking to D-Butt on this show earlier this year, and we said, what was a successful season for the Detroit Lions? In my opinion, it was making the playoffs, and they were close. D-Butt, I think he said it was between 7 and 9 wins. He could see this as a successful season and something they could build on. Dan Campbell, I think he's making everybody a believer as far as how he can lead his team. Obviously, the team, the guys in that locker room are buying in. We talked about it as well as far as the Lions and that coaching staff having a number of former players on that staff and wanted to see them be successful. Having more guys that played the game on that sideline and pouring into the guys. So again, shout out to the Lions, man. A hell of a game yesterday. Jared Goff. I think he, I'm not going to say revitalize his career because, a lot of people are trying to down him, but I think he's a great fit for what the Detroit Lions are doing right now. Williams, he setting that record as far as most touchdowns and most rushing touchdowns in the season, passing Barry Sanders. Shout out to him. Very charismatic guy. If y'all seen the interview last night after the game, my man went from crying to calling y'all out. Like, hey, look, don't think it's soft over here. Don't think it's sweet over here just because of these tears, man. But going from 1-6 to 9-8, a beautiful thing, man. So again, Detroit Lions, definitely a team to look out for next year. They're gonna add some pieces to all of the pieces that they already have in that building. Shout out to the Detroit Lions, man. On the Green Bay Packers, I thought they was gonna be able to come in and get it done, playing at home, playing at Lambeau, but just a lot of mistakes. Last night, playing undisciplined. It didn't look like it looked the past, I would say, 3 to 4 weeks when they was on that run. So they're home. They're going home. And big question. What does the future hold for Aaron Rodgers, right? You seen him walking off the field last night, hugging Randall Cobb. I forgot who it was that asked him for his jersey after the game, but he was like, man, I think I'm going to keep this one. And again, sitting on the couch watching the game, I'm like, okay, man, it seems like, as a player, you always know in your head, like, okay, well, it's time for me to move on. Whether it's a different team, whether it's him saying, look, man, I had a hell of a career. I can go on and do some other different things. It's what it looked like. Again, I'm not saying that it is, but what does the future hold for him? Does he go to another team? It's going to be plenty of teams that would love to have somebody like Aaron Rodgers taking the snaps for his team. Does he go to Las Vegas, right? Does he shoot him and he team back up with Devontae Adams, right? You're looking at the Jets. You know, I don't know if the coach will be able to get him, but it's a lot of teams that would love to have somebody like A-Rod leading that team. But again, we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. But again, them Detroit Lions, real deal. Real deal. And before we get out of here, like I said, I want to touch on these matchups, right? The wild card matchups. I'm going to start off on the AFC side. And I'm going to give you my picks on Monday because I'm standing strong on my picks. I already know. AFC, NFC, I already know. Our AB already know what it is, right? So, Baltimore, Cincinnati, right? We just talked about Baltimore, Lamar Jackson. Don't know what his availability is going to be like, right? I'm going Cincinnati. I'm going with Joe Burrow and company. I feel like Cincy, man, they started off slow, but they picked it up. They picked it up towards the end of the season. So, yeah, man, I'm going Cincinnati in this Baltimore-Cincinnati matchup. Miami and Buffalo, no questions asked. I'm going Buffalo there. You know, not having Tua, not sure who's going to be at the quarterback position, Thompson or Bridgewater. I'm going strictly Buffalo right here. And it's Jacksonville and Los Angeles Chargers game. I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Yeah, you heard it here. I am going with the Jacksonville Jaguars. So there you have it on the AFC side. I'm going with Cincinnati over Baltimore. I'm going who else was it? I'm going Cincinnati over Baltimore. I'm going Buffalo over Miami, and I'm going Jacksonville over the Chargers. Y'all can call me crazy or whatever, but I'm telling you, those are my picks on the AFC side. Going over to the NFC. Going over to the NFC side, these playoff matchups for the wild card. We got the New York Giants against the Minnesota Vikings. I told you, I see upset here. I feel like New York Giants will go in Minnesota, and we'll have an upset there. Now, y'all rock with me now. I told my man Tone to get the final tally of these records of the season. He didn't do that. So, but I'm trying to tell you, I'm feeling good about these picks. Seattle against San Fran. Seattle. Geno Smith. Pete Carroll. Great job this season. But you going to Santa Clara, man. Them San Francisco, man, they hot right now. They real hot. So I'm picking San Francisco there. And I told you, Dallas against Tampa Bay. Dallas going on the road, facing the 8-9 Bucks led by Tom Brady. I'm going with Tampa Bay there as well. Kansas City has a bye week. Philadelphia Eagles has a bye week as well. One more time before we get out of there. I'm going Cincinnati over Baltimore. I'm going Buffalo over Miami. Upset. Jacksonville over the Los Angeles Chargers. Jacksonville whooped up on the Los Angeles Chargers earlier this year. Obviously, the Chargers had a lot of guys out. I think it's going to be a completely different game, but still, I got the Jacksonville Jaguars in that game. And then on the NFC side, one more time, I got the New York Giants over the Minnesota Vikings. The Seattle Seahawks over the I'm tripping. I got the San Francisco 49ers over Seattle, and Tampa Bay beating Dallas. So there you have it. You got it early in the week, Monday. My picks. And of course, shout out to FanDuel, the official sponsor of the Man to Man Pod. I'm gonna get this read for you real quick. You know what I'm saying? And be on the lookout too, man. The Man to Man Pod. We might be at the Super Bowl on Radio Row, man. We're gonna keep y'all posted though. But again, there's no sweat first bet. Up to $1,000 back in free bets. And when you sign up, you got to use that promo code. Everybody should know it now. It's the M2M Live. Again, that promo code M2M Live, that's up to $1,000 back on your first bet. If your first bet does not win. Again, as we all know, this FanDuel app is easy to use. It's America's #1 sports book. So again, man, y'all tap into it. Y'all use that code M2M Live. And I think for the playoffs, I'm going to tap in. I'm going to do me some same game parlays as well. My guy, D-Butt, he does it all the time. He's been winning a lot of money for the people. So I'm gonna tap in during this playoff push, this playoff run, and put up some same game parlays as well. As always, it was good, man. Rocking with y'all today. I rolled dolo from state to state, but nah, man, this podcast thing, man, when you sitting here just seem like you talking to yourself, this shit is tough. But as always, man, we appreciate the love that y'all show to us. Each and every Monday, like I tell you, man, get your 30 minutes in. Health is wealth. We're gonna put this disclaimer up. Okay. Hold on. TJ, what you say? AB. Denver just got permission to interview Cowboys DC Dan Quinn. Okay. Yeah, man, I appreciate you, my guy. Javier, love, G.I. Joe. Bet with AB, man. Bet on yourself. Do that early and often. Please. John, man. Thank you. T-Bone, I appreciate you. Crow Unit 20. Love. Again, man, appreciate everybody. Corey Willoughby. Yeah, man. Hopefully we trying to get it done, man. Make it happen, man. As always, man, it's that steady grind. For everybody who's been rocking with us from day one, we appreciate you. To the newcomers, we appreciate you too. Tell a friend to tell a friend. And we are out of here.
Butler. Darius Butler. Antoine Bethea. Pass
All right, family. We gone.